Okay. Are you bringing the iPad? No. Okay. Are you sure Auntie's upstairs? Yeah, she's just sleeping. Upstairs? Okay. What do you want? You there? I put my hands on. Hello, welcome to the call. We're just going to start right on time at 7. It'll be a couple of minutes. Hi, everyone. We'll actually take about 5 more minutes just to let some people some time to come in. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to PennyDrops. This is our banking and investing seminar. And just to let you guys know, we are recording this lesson. If you guys don't want to be recorded, make sure you keep your cameras off. But yeah, so yeah, it's 7:05, so we're gonna get it started now. And I'm just gonna see if I can give Franz permission to share. Hold on. All right, great. So my name is Leela. I'm the president of PennyDrops, Untitled Chapter. I'm a third-year financial math and economics student. And with me is Franz.
Hi, everyone. My name is Franz. I am in first year Bachelor of Health Sciences.
Great. So yeah, I think, Franz, I gave you permission to share now, so you should be able to share. I'm just going to share the presentation that we're doing today. I don't know if Chetan is here. I think he did want to say a couple of words before we started.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the DSC lead for the University of Ottawa, and DSC is basically a club where we teach students other program, and we let you guys also network with other chapters, with other programmers. But yeah, if you want to join, I'll drop a link in the chat. Other than that, I'll let you guys take it away.
Great. All right, so I'm just gonna open it up here. Hold on. And all that we're gonna present today, it can be available for you guys. You can keep it, write notes, whatever. If you want, if you want to keep this presentation, we can send it to you. Just let us know. Either drop your email in the chat or let Chetan know if you're part of the Google Developer Students Club, and then we'll share the presentation with you. So I assume, sorry, Franz, is that you sharing right now?
Yes. Do you want to stop sharing?
Yeah, no, good. I just thought it was me for a second. All right, so we'll go ahead then. All right, so this is just a little overview about us. So who we are. PennyDrops is a student-run, registered, non-for-profit organization dedicated to the advancement of financial education in Canada. The reason why we're able to be not-for-profit is because we're powered by BMO. So I just want to say thank you to BMO for sponsoring us.
Thank you, BMO.
We design innovative and engaging financial literacy curriculums taught by trained, knowledgeable university-level mentors and instructors. Why we do it? To give high school and university students the ability to make smart financial decisions and to start them on the path towards economic success. So we have 4 programs here in the university chapter. We have budgeting, banking and investing, credit, and 10 money hacks. They're all super useful. They all have different tips and tricks. And especially for university students, they're really helpful, like how to budget and how to pay off your tuition and make money from your own money, which is what we're going to be learning today. So if you're interested in more of these other lessons, then feel free to go to our Instagram. I'm gonna put it in the chat later and see if we're doing any other presentations so you can learn more. So the program, we wish there were sweeping solutions to everyone's financial concerns, but unfortunately, that's not the case. The university program, this lesson especially, is designed to highlight some options and best practices for money management in a general sense. Be sure to carefully consider your situation and weigh the pros and cons before taking action on anything included in this presentation. I'm just gonna turn my lamp on here. All right, we're not financial advisors or anything like that, so make sure think about your situation first before taking any of our ideas and suggestions. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and do the Kahoot now, and Franz will go through the Kahoot. And just know that we have 2 Kahoots. This is the pre-lesson Kahoot. We have a post-lesson Kahoot, and we will be giving out a prize, which Franz will tell you guys about. So make sure you stay to the end and participate in the post-lesson Kahoot.
Awesome. I'm just going to pause sharing a bit and then Kahoot over into this. Okay. There we go. I think that's going up.
So make sure you guys join. This is just going to be like a couple pre-lesson questions. We're not testing anything. We just want to see what you guys know. And then we'll do another Kahoot at the end and you guys can see everything that you learned. I think, no, I shouldn't join. I was like, I think I'm going to join. I know all the answers, so I shouldn't. We'll give you guys like 30 seconds to join.
I forgot about my dog.
All right, so I think we can get started now.
Okay, awesome. I'll start. You guys can hear that, right? It's the music. The music's fun. All right, what is the fee regarding a negative balance when it comes to your bank accounts? Awesome. That's the overdraft fee. Nice. All right, let's go over to question number 2, a multi-select question. What are some payment modes that banks provide? These questions are fairly easy. Very nice. Awesome. They were all correct. Nice, nice. All right, you got the scoreboard switching up. Why is an RRSP better than a savings account if saving money for retirement? This one would be more familiar with if her parents or someone you're familiar to have RRSPs. They're tax deductible. We'll talk more about that in the lesson. Number 4, which of the following is a benefit of using PayPal? Again, this is a multi-select question. Three of them were correct, except for the fact that we can't really send large sums of money throughout PayPal. And then, nice, answer streaks and all that. Our last question for our pre-lesson survey. Again, it's a multi-select. What do you need in order to open a bank account as a Canadian citizen or permanent resident? Your driver's license and passport. Awesome. Get onto the podium. GT, nice. from. Congratulations, you have our runners up right at the 4 and 5 right here also.
Great. So we're gonna do that again at the end, and the winner is gonna win $25. So make sure you guys stay to the end and play the game again. And if you win, then you're gonna get that gift card. All right. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the banking portion of this lesson. So I'm just gonna share my screen. All right. So yeah, there's just a few chapters that we're gonna go through: banking and investing. And this is going to be banking. The first part of banking is understanding banks. Banks make money in 3 major ways. One of the ways is net interest income. Banks use depositors' money to give loans to others. The general profit equation for a bank is profit equals a lot of money gained minus not a lot of money paid. Another way they make money is through fees. Banks charge fees for the services they provide. You really need to pay attention to these fees because it can be an insane amount of money is what it adds up to if you're not watching out for those. And capital markets. Banks advise and assist major companies with large transactions for a fee. The role of banks in the economy. Oh, and before I go on, if you guys have any questions at any point, just either drop it in the chat or you can feel free to unmute your mic and just ask. All right, so the role of banks in the economy. Banks borrow funds from the public and pay interest and make the money economy more efficient. We have loans and securities, services, and revenues and interest. This is all what the bank is getting from these stores and businesses. For what they're getting from everyday people like us is interest, services, and deposits and funds. So these are some good tips for dealing with banks, especially if you're setting up an account or you're trying to get a loan that's going to have interest on it. Make sure you ask for any advice or clarification that you need. There could be like some little detail inside the paperwork that's going to end up costing you a lot of money. So make sure you really read through that paperwork. Like I know we all like when there's like that agree to the terms and conditions, we all just scroll and agree. But when it comes to banks, you really need to make sure you pay attention and read everything. And also when exposed to a new banking product, you don't have to make your decision right away. You have the power as a customer. It's really important to know that you really do have the power as a customer. There's bank fees that the bank may be willing to waive if you just ask them. They want to keep you as a customer, and you could just say like, this bank isn't charging me for transactions. Then they might like waive that transaction fee. So really make sure you just ask like and have a good relationship with them, and you might be able to get that money off. So this is banks versus credit unions. We have chartered banks. Canada has a variety of chartered banks with 5 major players. Those 5 major players are RBC, CIBC, BMO, who we love because they're sponsoring us, TD, and Scotiabank. A lot of those different ones have student accounts, which a lot of us are eligible for right now. So make sure that if you have a bank and your deal isn't already better than a student account, that you're with that student account, and make sure you take advantage of it while you can, because there are a lot less fees. You get a lot of free services, and a lot of that's going to go away once you hit like a certain age. So make sure you take advantage of it while you can. Banks are full service: deposit, lending, and investing. You can do everything with the same bank, or you could do different things with different banks. For example, if you have like an account with CIBC that you do your depositing and your savings account with, you can still go to like TD and do your investing. You don't need to do everything at one bank, although you can, and you might have some leverage from doing that. Like you might be able to say, I already have the savings account with you. Can like I get some fees dropped for my investing account? You might be able to do that, but also there's no problem with spreading it out and seeing who has the best deals for different types of accounts. Your money is insured by the Canadian federal government for up to $100,000 per checking or savings account. Important to know. I don't know if any of us has that much money right now or if that's getting stolen from us right now, but good to know. The government does not insure losses due to fraud or theft. And then we have credit unions. Credit unions are member-owned financial cooperatives. So for example, Vancity, Meriden, Coast Capital, those are just a few, there's a bunch, may have member fees. So this is something that you would have to pay like monthly or whatever they say, and it could be any amount of money. A lot of times it's a standard fee that you have to pay every month, no matter how much money you're putting in. Yeah, so that's something maybe you need to watch out for to see what those fees are and see if it's worth paying that. Your money is insured by the province or non-government organizations. So instead of being insured by the Canadian federal government, which is all of Canada, it might be insured by just Ontario or a non-government organization. So storing your money. So banks provide three main services that you will use in your everyday banking life. There's storing money, payments, and borrowing. So for storing money, there's different types of accounts that you can do that with. Like we have savings accounts, we have checking accounts, and you can use them for different things. When planning to open a bank account, you must consider how you will use the account. Are you using it for everyday transactions or long-term savings? Everyday bank accounts fall under one of these three major classifications: checking accounts, saving accounts, and special saving accounts. So this is more for everyday, like it says, everyday banking. So typically what a lot of us will be doing, unless you're saving for a long-term thing, but this is usually what you get first. Like when you first get a bank account, it's going to be an everyday banking account, and it's going to have that checking. So the checking is where you deposit your money. And when you use your debit card, it comes out of the checking account. When you deposit money, it goes into the checking account. And typically there aren't fees for taking money out of the checking account or putting it in, which is important because as long as you have that setting that it's set to checking account, whenever you spend money, it's going to be from that checking account. So you're not paying to use your money. Whereas, for example, savings account, they want you to put your money in there and then leave it in there for like however much. Like I know they have like 90-day periods, 180-day periods. So you're supposed to keep that money in there. And if you pay from your debit card from your savings account, you're going to get charged money. It could be like $2. And I know maybe $2 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you make like a bunch of purchases, it's going to add up and you're going to end up paying to use your own money. So it's completely useless. Make sure that you're spending money out of your checking account. But also, if you want to use your savings account, you can make interest off of it. Typically not that much. It ends up being like 1%, which is like a couple cents. Like it's not like a lot. So we suggest that instead of putting your money into the savings account or special savings account, if you're gonna like try to grow it using interest, then put in like investing. Our savings account is a good way to just like put it there, leave it. You know you're not going to spend from it, but you also not going to grow out of it. You're just going to like a good way to just store your money. And then we also have the special savings account. So for checking accounts, a checking account is the most basic bank account offered by banks and is typically used for transactions, meaning that money moves in and out of this account quickly and easily without penalty. So you can do withdrawals, deposits, payments, and transfers. So withdrawals is like you're taking out the money, like cash, you're taking out cash. Deposits, you're putting in either like someone transfer you money or depositing cash or depositing a check. Payments is you tapping your card and paying something or buying something online with your debit card. And transfers is e-transfers. And like I said, a lot of us are eligible for those student accounts, and you can get all these services typically for free using the student accounts, like transfers and everything. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. And your debit card is directly like linked to your checking account. So like you can't charge your checking account or your savings account using a credit card, only your debit card. Types of checking accounts. Most financial institutions offer a range of checking accounts that provide different features for a monthly fee. We have the basic checking, which is a small monthly fee. For example, it's typically around $4 to $5. It has limited features and are for those looking for a utilitarian option. As students and as people in school and probably not having like making the most money from like our jobs, this is typically like the most needed if you're not already having the student account, because there's a small monthly fee. Maybe you don't have like a lot of money to pay for the monthly fees, and maybe you're not needing all the services. Like, for example, do you really need like checks, like a checkbook? Right now, maybe we don't need a checkbook. So you're probably not gonna, with this basic checking account, you're probably not gonna get access like cheap checkbooks. So it's just really, if that's okay with you, then this is a good deal, because you're not going to be spending as much as that small on those fees. However, you do need to just make sure that you're taking notice of what features you will be having at your disposal and which you're going to be having to pay like a little extra for, just because you have that low fee. We also have the unlimited checking. So moderate monthly fee, it's around $15. There's has multiple features and are for those who use basic features very often. So like maybe you could start out with the basic checking, and if you find out that you're actually using those features that you have to pay for in the basic checking a lot, then it's sort of pointless because to have that basic checking, because you have to pay every time you use that feature. So with the unlimited checking, you get those extra features for free or for a lower price. And so it might be worth it if you find that you're using them a lot. We also have premium checking, which has a high monthly fee at $30. And it has many diverse features and for users of high-end services who keep a large balance. So these are going to include those features that like I sort of like none of us use ever. So, but you might be in a specific line of work, or you might be doing a specific thing where you do use that like specific feature a lot. So that's why you have to make sure you read through all the paperwork and take notice of what you're using. Like for example, one of those fees could be the out of range ATM fee. So if you're getting money from an ATM that isn't your own bank, like for example, if I was with RBC and I'm getting my money from a BMO ATM, then it's going to charge me money for that. But premium checking, it might not charge me money for that. So maybe if there aren't a lot of RBC ATMs near me and only BMO ATMs, then I'm going to get that premium checking so I don't have to pay every single time I'm taking out from that out of network ATM. And then we also have the student checking. It has no monthly fee, limited features with limited free use, and for students who don't want to pay much to use their money. And like I said, it's really useful for a lot of us. We don't have to pay a monthly fee. It doesn't really matter how much money we have in there. There's some accounts where as long as you have a certain amount of money in your account, you don't have to pay a fee. So it's like $30 if you have less than 10,000 in your account. So something like that. Whereas this has no like limit, no floor to the how much you need to not pay the fee. Typically, the lower your monthly fee is, the fewer features and perks you will have. And again, it just matters about what features and perks you do want and if it's actually worth it to pay those monthly fee for it. Like if you're gonna use a feature that's only $2 once a month, it's not worth paying that extra like $10 just because you're using that one feature. So you really have to weigh the pros and cons. Banks charge many different fees for the services they provide. So these are a bunch of different fees that the banks will charge. They have the monthly fee. This is just a fee you have to pay monthly to have your bank account open. Typically, once you're not using the student accounts anymore, you will have a monthly fee. It's really like you will not find an account where you're not paying a fee at all. And it seems kind of silly. Like it's like, why am I paying money every month to use like my account? But it's because if you're paying that monthly fee, the higher it is, then the rest of these fees will either be lower cost or free. So then that's what the monthly fee is. And like I said, it can have like a floor on how much you need in the account if you want like a lower monthly fee. So another thing to pay attention to. We have the additional transaction fee. And that's just if you make too many transactions. Like I think there's like, for example, an account where you can make 25 debit transactions a month and you make 26, you might have to pay a couple dollars extra for that 26 transaction. Again, this might not matter if you're not paying a lot with your debit card or if you're just not making a lot of transactions in general. it is something though that you would have to keep count of. Like if you're not sure and then you accidentally do 26, you accidentally do 27, 28, 29, it can add up to a lot of money. So that is something that if you don't want to pay for those fees and you don't have them included in the type of checking account you have, make sure that you're paying attention to how you're spending your money so that you don't accidentally get charged. We also have an e-transfer fee. With a lot of the student accounts, this is completely free. If you're not in a student account, it's a couple dollars, maybe $1, maybe $2. And this is, again, you're paying money to send other people money, or sometimes you're paying money to receive money. So it's one of those things that, like, for example, I personally use e-transfer a lot because I don't keep cash on me. And like, if I go get like a pizza with my friends, I'm going to send them that money. And so for me specifically, I probably would want one where the e-transfer fees are lowered or included, because that's just how it goes. It's just, you have to pay attention to which ones are pertaining to you a little more. Then we have the out-of-network ATM fee, and this is one I already mentioned, where you're getting your cash or you're depositing or you're using the ATM of a bank that is not your bank. This could be, it depends. Again, like for example, if you're with Tangerine Bank, I don't think they have any in-person ATMs. So if you get an account with them and it has an out-of-network ATM fee, then every single time you like use an ATM, it's going to be that out-of-network ATM fee. So if you're with a bank like that doesn't have like a lot of ATMs, then you won't really want to pay attention to this, because you don't want to be in a situation where you need to take out money and it turns out there's a ridiculous out-of-network ATM fee on it. However, if you're in an area where you have a lot of ATMs from your bank around, then it doesn't matter if this fee is ridiculous, as long as you get other fees that are lower, because it doesn't matter that this one's ridiculous because you're not going to be using it. We also have the statement fee, and this is just the fee you have to pay to get your statement. It is good to look over your statement every month, so make sure you guys are doing that. Make sure you're looking over all your purchases and all the money that you spent and keeping track of what you're spending on. So you got to pay a fee for your statement fees. Again, with the student accounts, you don't have to pay. I think also they're doing a lot of online statements now, where it's just like they'll email it to you, or it's just accessible through your bank app. And this costs less than the paper. Like, I think they mail it to you. They can mail you the statement fees. I've never gotten mine mailed, but they can mail it to you, and it costs a little more because they're actually sending you that paper and the envelope and everything. So if you're not already paperless, I suggest you go paperless. It saves the environment, also costs less. And yeah, it's a good thing, I think. And then we have the check order fees. I think I mentioned this as well. You got to pay to get those checks, like a checkbook. As students, I don't think we're using a lot of checks. As people with like phones and e-transfer, like I like never use a check. So sorry. So I like a check order fee. It might not matter to you as much, and you might like give in to that being higher so that you can get something else at a lower fee. I'm just gonna grab some water. Hold on. All right. And we also have the overdraft fee. And this is when you spend too much money from your checking account than you have in there. So you say you have like $5 in your checking account and you buy something for $6, that $1 extra is going to count as overdraft. You can get overdraft protection so that if you spend too much, then you will be protected because you won't get charged that overdraft fee. However, you do have to pay for overdraft protection. So if it's something that's happening to you often where you're paying like more money than you actually have, then overdraft protection might be important to you, because then you're not going to get charged every single time you spend too much. However, if you're paying attention to how much is in your bank account and how much you're spending, and noticing every time you like tap your card or buy something online, then like as long as you're paying attention, you won't go over, unless you're like in the situation where you like need to pay rent and you don't have money, in which case overdraft protection really wouldn't either be helpful then, because overdraft protection is more if it's a reoccurring thing. So as long as you're paying attention to how much you're spending and how much money is in your account and frequently checking up on it, then you will not have this problem with overdraft. So a higher overdraft fee, as long as it's not ridiculous, isn't the end of the world. We also have non-sufficient funds fee, and this is just when you don't have enough money to pay back what you owe. And that's a fee that usually they won't waive because they want you to pay back your money. And especially if you can't pay back your money, then you should pay at least something. So this is a fee that they usually don't waive. But again, as long as you're paying attention, you usually don't have problems with that. Some fees are discretionary, so ask if something doesn't seem right. Banks want to keep you as a customer. Like I said, again, they really want you to be their customer. You can leave at any time and go bank somewhere else. So if you have like a problem with like the e-transfer fee being too high, be like, I e-transfer like every day or this many times a week. Can you lower it? Can you cut it in half? Something like that. Or yeah. So it's just really important to pay attention to those fees because they can add up really quickly and not all of them are necessary. So we're just gonna do like a little activity right now, and this is to find out which account works for you. So let's find the best personal bank accounts for you. So find the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada's bank account comparison tool. I'm just gonna put this link, in the chat, hold on. All right, so everyone go to that link. And I'll resume. Okay, everyone go to that link and fill out your demographic information. Expand to show more optional filters. Then compare features for different checking and savings accounts, including interest rates, monthly fees, and transactions. This is a really good way to compare accounts, especially when you're comparing more than two. Maybe there's 3 banks, 4 banks that you're like looking at, and there's so many different layers to each one, and each type of account has different fees, and it's really hard to keep track of all of that. So if you use this site, it makes it really easy to compare. It's all there in like one spot, and you don't have to like make like a million notes and have a million tabs open to try to compare everything. So this is really useful. And ask for help defining certain terms you don't know. Debrief, share why you chose these specific accounts. So I'm just gonna move on. You guys can do that on your own time. If you have any questions about anything it says at all, feel free. If you're looking at it right now, feel free to drop it in the chat or just like unmute your mic or join like another PennyDrop session and see if you can like learn some more things. Otherwise, we're always available at pd.uottawa on Instagram. Again, I'll put it in the chat right now. And you can always ask us any type of financial questions and we'd be happy to help. All right, and now we're moving on to storing money. Savings accounts. A savings account is used to store money that will be used for essential expenses and to achieve financial goals. Banks reward you for storing money in a savings account by paying you interest. So we have tiered interest and then a flat rate. Pick the account that offers the highest interest rate while still meeting your needs. Like I said, a lot of these, for student accounts, they tend to be 1%. Maybe lower, maybe a little bit higher, maybe 1.7% if you're lucky. As you pay more for your account, like as you move on to like a basic checking account, premium checking account with those higher monthly fees, that interest rate that they offer you is going to increase as well. So right now as students, because we're not paying fees at all, we're getting low cost for everything. That's why our interest that they offer us is really low. So right now, this might not be as compatible with a student account, but it's more compatible with those other accounts. So maybe you might not care about having those free fees and you care more about making interest, then a basic account or premium account, even as a student, might be more beneficial. So savings accounts have fewer features than checking accounts due to the fact that they're not meant to be used for making transactions. You are able to pay from your debit account. You are able to pay with your debit from your savings account. It's an option. You are able to set your debit card so that it pays from your savings account, But like I said, it's not meant to be used for making transactions. So you usually have those fees associated with paying from your savings account. And because of this, it also is not associated with all those other fees because it's not meant to be used that way. Although you technically are able to if you really wanted to. So features, it has interest rates and few or no monthly fees based on certain requirements. Like I said, like student accounts, we get that 1%, but we also don't have to pay for the savings account at all. So give or take. The downsides are few or no fee transactions and possible penalties upon withdrawal. So I mentioned a 90-day period, or for example, a 180-day period. And that's what happens when you put your money into a savings account. It's going to ask how long you want to put it in for. And if you take that money out before the amount of days you said so, it might cost you. So again, you're paying money to take out your money. So it's one of those things you really want to pay attention to. Debit cards are often linked to savings account. Make sure you aren't spending out of it to avoid withdrawal fees. And then we have special savings account. Special savings account are meant to be used to save for a very specific thing. They have features which help optimize the account's usefulness for the future. We have tax-free savings account to help Canadians save and invest tax-free for the future. So this is like TFSA or your, like it says, the registered retirement plan. You're not gonna have to pay, once you take out that money, you're not gonna have to pay tax on that. And when it's sitting in there, you're not paying tax on that. Whereas when you're having money in your bank account, you are paying tax on that. So like I said, keeping our money in the savings account right now as students, as having that lower interest rate, it might not be worth it because we're making low interest off of it and we're also having to pay tax on it. Whereas you put it in the TFSA, you're going to be able to earn like a higher interest because you can use it to invest. And then you're also not paying tax. So even if you're not going to use it to invest, you're still not paying tax on it. So it's still a winning situation. We also have the registered retirement savings plan to help Canadians save for their retirement. Start saving for your retirement as soon as you can, especially with the horrible economy and everything's getting more and more expensive. So you want to start saving as soon as you can. Yeah, just like as soon as you get a job, start your RRSP. And then we have the RESP, which is a registered education savings plan to help save for a child's education after high school. Characteristics of special savings accounts. So the TFSA has tax benefits. Its income is tax-free. The max annual contribution is $6,000 with rollover. So that means that if I open my TFSA this year, I could put $6,000 in it, and then another $6,000 next year. However, if I only put in $2,000 next year, if I only put $2,000 in this year, the next year I can put the $6,000 plus the $4,000 that I didn't put in this year. So I'd be able to, like, you're not losing that space if you're not like putting money in right away. A TFSA is available to all Canadians 18 plus with a valid SIN number. Registered retirement savings plan. The contributions are tax deductible, 18% of income up to $26,230, and purely for saving for retirement, no withdrawals from RRSP. You cannot, once you put your money in there, you cannot take it out until you officially retire and you're not working. Yeah, you have to retire if you want that money. Registered education savings plan. The income is tax-free and there's $50,000 total contribution. And if beneficiary doesn't go to school, the funds can be transferred or withdrawn. So the beneficiary is the person that you set up for it. You set the account up for. So for example, maybe some of us had parents who set up RESPs for us. If we didn't end up going to UAuto, if we didn't end up going to school, then they would be able to take that money and keep it themselves. However, they would have to pay tax on it once they're no longer using it for the school. However, while you do have to pay tax on it because you're withdrawing it not for school purposes, you do get your money back. So it's not like registered retirement savings plan where you can't take it out at all unless you go to school. Like if you don't end up going to school, you're welcome to take it out. You do have to pay tax though because it's no longer used for the intended purpose. So choosing, opening, and identifying accounts. Is there a minimum balance requirement to waive the monthly fee? Are there branches and ATMs near you? What other products are offered? How are the interest rates compared to others? Are there fees for services or account closure? And will you have good mobile banking capabilities? All very important things to know when you're trying to choose an account. Some of these things might be more important to you than others. So it's good to make, at the very least, a mental note of what you care about and what you want to have a low fee or no fee at all, versus the things where you're not going to be using that feature, so it doesn't really matter what the fee is. Because like you won't be able to get all of these for free or no fee without any downsides in another area. So it's really important to take note of which ones are most important to you and what you're using it for. You will need 2 current and original forms of government issued identification. You have to be, for a Canadian citizen, you need your Canadian passport, driver's license, or birth certificate, at least 2 out of those 3. Or if you're a foreign citizen, you need your Canadian driver's license, permanent resident card, or foreign passport. Again, 2 out of those 3, you'll need to open the account. You can open an account even if you don't have money to put in right away. So you could just have one open and it can have $0 balance, but maybe you opened it at a time where you're able to get those low fees. And while you don't have any money to put into it, those low fees are going to stay until you're able to start putting money in it. Identifying an account, relevant numbers for identifying your account. So these are all the important accounts. This is like a picture of a check where all the information is, but you can find this information on through your bank account as well. They also have a void check option, which should have all this information on it. And so routing numbers, it's usually the 9-digit number right here. The account number, I say this one is the most important thing. You're going to be asked for your account number a lot, especially for direct deposits. And then we have the check number, and that's just the number on the check. If you're not using checks, then this isn't that important. These numbers are different from the numbers on your cards. While card numbers change, banking numbers don't. So if you actually pick up your credit card or a debit card, those numbers on the front, that's not your account number. You can get another debit card and your account number will stay the same. So make sure you actually go into like the deep settings of your account on your banking app to get that account number. It's not the ones on your debit card. So the routing number is the financial institution number plus your transit number. Your financial institution number is the number of your financial institution. And I think this is also specifically the exact branch where you opened up your account. So if you opened up in a specific area in Ottawa, it's going to have the different number than if you opened it up in Gatineau. Banking services, payments. Debit cards are directly linked to your savings account and or checking account. This means when you use your debit card, you are directly removing money from the related account. So 4 tips for using a debit card: never share your PIN with anybody, tap to pay, check your receipts, online banking statements, and report lost or stolen cards immediately. Obviously, don't share your PIN with anybody, especially if you're like me and you have the same PIN for your debit card and your credit card, which you shouldn't do. Make sure you have different PINs, but don't share it with anybody. Tap to pay, this is useful because then you're not gonna, there's no chance of somebody seeing you put in your PIN and then taking your card. So make sure you tap to pay when you can. It's just more useful and no one's gonna see your PIN. And check your receipts and online banking statements. What a lot of people do when they're like stealing your money from your account is they'll take little amounts of money, like $1, 30 cents, something like that. And they'll do it a few times. And if they see that you're not noticing, that's when they'll start taking a lot of money out because they know that you're not paying attention and you're not watching your statements. So make sure you're always watching those, and not even just for if your card was stolen or someone somehow got your number, maybe online or otherwise. Also, it's important for if you just accidentally got charged. Like one time I went to Cineplex and I bought a movie ticket and for some reason it charged me twice. So like I literally called the bank. It took 5 minutes and they deleted the second charge. So it's really simple and not hard at all to just check your bank statements and your receipts and just make sure everything matches and is going smoothly, because it can save you a lot of trouble as long as you do that regularly. And report lost or stolen cards immediately. Even if you think even if you lost it and you think it's in your room, like, oh, I'm pretty sure it's in my room, but you haven't been able to find it, just report it immediately. It's not difficult at all to get a new card. Yeah, you might have to wait like a couple of weeks or something for it to get sent in, but as long as you have that card number, the new one, you can still use it online. You can still like set it up on your Google Pay or whatever. So it's easy to report it and it's easy to get a new one. So it's not worth accidentally having your card be used by someone else just because like you're not sure if you lost it or not. So payments and other payments options. We have Interact e-transfer, a fast and secure way to send, receive, and request money. All you need is access to a mobile or online banking with your financial institution and the recipient's phone number or email address. Really, really easy. Just need an email address and you can just send it over the banking app that you use. A check, another way to pay another party that doesn't bank with your financial institution. You can deposit checks at a teller through an ATM or online by taking a picture with their mobile banking apps. This might be more useful depending on what you're paying for. Like for example, to pay your tuition, we can send in a check. So if you don't want to do a bank order to them or a money draft, then you can just send them in a check and it might cost you less. A check written by your bank bank draft. A check written by your bank from your account that has a physical sum of money set aside to back it. Unlike a personal check, a bank draft will never bounce. So a bank draft needs to be, it's basically approved before you send it. So for example, if I try to give Franz like $1 million check and I don't have $1 million, I can still give it to her. And then when she tries to cash it, it's just gonna say like, oh, this check error, no, you're not getting that money. Whereas if I try to give her $1 million bank draft, the bank is going to approve that I have that $1 million first before I'm even able to give it to Franz. So if someone owes you money and you ask for a bank draft instead of a check, it ensures that when they give it to you, you're actually getting your money and it's not just them giving you a check and then turns out it's not even doesn't even have any money to back it up. Money order, similar to a bank draft, except it doesn't require a bank as a middleman. It is backed by the money the sender has to physically pay it with. So instead of the bank approving it, it just gets set aside in your account. So it's like you already spent it, even if they didn't check it yet, even if they didn't check it, like take it yet. And wire transfer, an electronic transfer that requires no physical money to change hands. It is a direct transfer executed by the sender's bank that will go directly and securely to the receiver's bank. Yeah, it's just really secure and really good for if you're sending like large amount of monies. For example, banks will do wire transfers to other banks, or really big companies will do wire transfers. They're not going to send an e-transfer to another big, like Google's not sending an e-transfer to Facebook. Like that's not happening. They're sending wire transfers to each other. Mobile wallet, a way to pay using your account and card information without any physical card by uploading your card information to your mobile wallet app. So this is Google Pay, Apple Pay. I think you could also use it from your some banks offer it so that from the bank app you can also pay. And this is just a way to tap without having to put in your card or having to type in the PIN. Direct deposit, a way to have your check automatically deposited into your account the moment payday comes around by providing your employer with necessary banking information. A lot of days this time, bank employers do not use checks anymore to give their employees money. Like a lot of them will just say like, give me your direct deposit and not even offer the check option. So it's good to have the information you need, which is the account number, in order to set this up. And it's just really useful because instead of like having to go into work, grab your check, come back home, take a picture of it with your banking app or go to the bank and submit it, it'll just come to your account. You can check your debit account and it should be in there, the amount that they paid. So credit cards will be covered in the credit lesson. Credit does have to do with banking, and however, it's a little more in depth. So if you want to know about that, be sure to let us know that you want that lesson. Check our PDU Auto account and we'll be delivering that. So things to know about paying online. You cannot pay with a regular debit card online in Canada. This is usually because they do not have this back pin, which is what you need. You must use either a virtual debit card or credit card, something with a CVV or CVC to pay online. It just needs to have that. Some debit cards do have that. So if it is, then you won't need that virtual debit card to pay. However, if you have a regular debit card that doesn't have this, you're able to request a virtual debit card, which will come with that number so that you can pay online. There are other online payment options like PayPal. Online payments are a huge part of life. Know how to execute them securely. So transferring your money with technology, you can pay online or through a mobile banking or through pre-authorized debits. And pay yourself, how to save. Automatic transfers from checking to savings. Transfers set amount every paycheck, every month, every transaction. Whatever works best for you. And then borrowing. Why borrow? To pay for things that you don't have the cash for right now, while building credit by paying back your loans. Borrowing can be for multiple different time frames. It can be for short term, which is more like a credit card, medium term, which is like you bought a car, and then long term, which is you bought a house. All right, and then we're gonna go into a little more in that in investing, which Franz is gonna take over.
All right, awesome. So we are going to go over to investing. I could share my screen. I believe we have that right. Awesome. Yes, we do. All right. So part 2 of this lesson is investing again. Just a disclaimer before this, though, that PennyDrops and the Credit Counseling Society are not licensed in investment sales organizations, and we're not looking to sell you any product or offer any kind of investment advice. The information we're presenting today is for information purposes only, and we ask that you only seek out licensed insurance and investment professionals for advice. Please only deal with those who are licensed when it's about your money. That's a very important thing to remember. All right. So what is investing? Investing is using your hard-earned money and putting it to work for you. It's putting money aside to purchase a security, an investment, something that you expect to rise in value over time. Say you buy a stock, a bond, a house, you pay for it, and then after some time, in a few years, you'll sell that investment and it'll be worth more. So you'll gain some profit from that. Why invest? What can we gain from this? 3 main points. First is that it helps you keep up with inflation. Inflation is basically the natural course of our economy where prices will go up. Something that costs $10 today will be $11 or $12 in a few years. So the money that you're not using right now, you want to make sure that it keeps up with the inflation so that your $10 today will also be $12 in time. And then secondly, on average, the US stock market has a long-term return of 10% every year. Although that varies daily, yearly, that will go up and down, but generally it's let's say go up by 10%. Another point is that we have a lot of time to let our money grow. We're still after we graduate, we'll be in the workforce. We're gonna spend a lot of time, a lot of years before to save before we can do what we want with it. So we can benefit from long-term investing with something called compound interest. See the graph on the slide? If you put the same amount of money every year, it'll grow interest. But that interest will also earn interest, money on your money. And if you see here, it's the compound interest that really drastically increases the value of the investment. Now, when do you start investing? The rule of thumb is that the earlier the better, because again, it gives you more time. That compound interest works magic. But then again, you're going to have to consider your own personal situation. Right now, like what you think is going to be in the future, your goals. Do you have debt to pay? Then you're going to want to pay that debt first, because the interest that you have to pay on that debt will likely be higher than what you could possibly earn if you invested it. Do you have a steady source of income? The best, and it's best to build and secure yourself an emergency fund and prioritize your budgeting needs at the moment. But when you have those taken care of, that is a very great opportunity to invest. Now, how much do you invest? That will vary also in your personal situation and your goals. But and we'll explore this more in depth in another lesson called budgeting. But usually with a minimalist budget, it's recommended to save 20% of your income, and most, if not all of that, would be recommended to be invested. Now, if your resources are more limited, that could be lower, but if you have specific goals and you have the room to save more, it's totally worth it to save more than 20%. The more you save today, the more you benefit from compound interest. Increase in value, right? So then how do you start investing? Where to start? There are essentially three main options, and each of them have their pros and cons. First is the financial advisor that we have in this slide. They give you advice and support and some insights regarding investment, but only investments. They don't really care about, it's not part of their services to have your financial plan in general, including your RRSP or RESPs for the future. They also would be usually hesitant to work with other financial advisors that focus on your non-investment plans, because their main thing is an investment. Now, the second, financial planner, that's who you go to if you need a long-term financial plan to optimize your finances. Like that's like for general stuff. They look at your circumstances, like your age, your income, your family assets. They help tailor a plan to meet your goals for the future too. You can expect to work with your planner in the long term. There are annual reviews. You reevaluate your plan. You keep them up to date every year. You get a written financial plan. You get investment advice, like the financial advisor we give you, and you get accessibility. Should there be an emergency regarding your investment, should there be any changes, you can reach them easily. And finally, you get a full fee disclosure for their services. But you got to keep in mind that financial planners should be licensed and designated. There's three main kinds: the certified financial planners, personal financial planners, and registered financial planners, and they vary in the services that they offer as well as in fees. Certified financial planners are usually the most expensive. Now, the third option is direct investing. You do the work yourself. You invest on your own. You make your own financial decisions. The pros of this, it's definitely the least expensive. You don't have to pay anyone to like manage anything, and it can feel rewarding for you. And that also makes it easy to align your investments with your values if you decide by yourself, because you know yourself best. For example, if you're looking for if you're looking to focus on diverse, ethical, or environmental causes, you could go that way with your investments. However, direct investing is quite time consuming, doing the work all by yourself, and it can cost you a lot of stress. Like they really stress that you get stressed. The direct investing is stressful. Now, regardless of how you choose to invest, there are still lots of terms and ideas that we need to be familiar with. So the first one would be the relationship between risk and return. The golden rule is increased risk means increased return. Risk-free investments range at about 3% return per year. Government bonds at 5%, and stocks are highest at 7% per year, usually, although that can also vary. Every investor has something called a risk profile. Investors determine their risk level, and so that helps them invest in ways that match their individual risk profiles. So, optimizing your investment plan. Now, return is the measure of the profit or loss that you can make on your investment. Income, that includes interest for bonds or dividends for stocks. We'll explore that more in a little bit. And the actual rise in value of the capital or investment itself is called the capital gain. For example, in real estate, right there. In real estate, you buy a house to rent out. The investment income is the rent that you receive minus the expenses. And then the capital gain, though, is the increase in value of the property over time. But if you look at the slide and the equation here, it makes more sense. It should be the other way. It's selling price minus purchase price. And then for the second term, the principle of diversification. This is a risk management strategy to invest in many securities within a portfolio, as opposed to only investing in one or just a few. In the long term, this usually yields higher returns and it lowers your risk. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket. This can either be a cross-asset diversification. You invest in like different kinds of assets of investments, and then diversity within an asset class. Just like maybe same category, but different basically different assets, but within like one type of investment. The third term is liquidity. How easy it is to sell an investment, how quickly you can turn it into cash. A stock is a highly liquid asset. You can buy it one day and sell it the next. It can sell in seconds because it involves a global stock market. Although a house is illiquid, you call it that, because it can take months and even years to sell, even on an open market. That's because it's a major investment and it usually only involves a local market of buyers. All right. And in terms of investment options, section 3, we'll be talking about 4 asset classes. First is cash and cash equivalents, bonds or fixed income, stocks, also called equities, and mutual funds or ETFs. So first in cash and cash equivalents. They're very liquid, and they have a lower risk. For example, there's a short-term government debts. Short-term government debts. There's saving bonds or treasury bills for that. Guaranteed investment certificates, which are Canadian investments issued by banks that guarantee a rate of return with a specified time in a contract. And then the third type, and that is the money market mutual funds. The return on these are primarily on income, like interest, and because they're very liquid, they're a good option for short-term investments. They're just maybe a less than 2% return, but they're also low risk, right? Our second type is fixed income, commonly represented by bonds. It's a loan between the lender and that's the investor and a borrower. If you're the investor, you receive periodic interest payments, and at the end of a contract, they'll pay the borrower will pay you back the principal. There are government bonds, which are secured by taxes. There are company bonds, they're secured by company assets, and then there's also mortgage-backed security. Now, companies have to pay their bondholders first before they get to pay their equity or their stockholders, which we'll talk about next. So that puts bondholders at a lower risk. They're around medium level risk of investment, around 5%, although this also varies dramatically from one bond to another. And then our third option, finally, is equity, the asset class that contains stocks. It represents ownership of a company. You invest in a company, and in exchange, you have proportional ownership of their future earnings depending on how much you invest. Like that, you give them cash, and then they give you a portion of the company. There's two types. Common shares and preferred shares. Preferred shares are paid first, so they're less risky. But stocks are high risk. They're very volatile. There's a lot of factors that affect how much they value, but there's also high return in them, although that also varies. And then as you see on this slide, this is Aritzia's stock performance in 2017. They started at 1750 and then they ended at 1269. That's negative 27%. They went down. So, but between that, they went up and down, up and down, up and down many, many times. But if you actually look them up now, and the most recent time that I looked them up was on Monday, the last I checked, it was 50.32. So they're doing pretty well right now. And as mentioned earlier, companies are required to pay back their bondholders first before shareholders. So bondholders are less risk than shareholders. They're the riskier ones. Awesome. Now, for our number 4, mutual funds and ETFs, or exchange traded funds. These are highly diverse because this is a what we call collection of securities. It's a pool of securities. Mutual funds are professionally managed. There's someone who would usually call a fund manager. They focus on their fund, the collection of securities, and then their job is to provide you above average returns. Now, ETFs, these are the ones that you usually track an index, and they're traded on exchanges like a stock. These you can trade throughout a day, and they're the most what do you call that? They go up and down. Now, there are many different kinds of funds, but when you choose one, the first to make sure of is to know the fund strategy and the past performance. That usually depends on the fund manager, right? Know the risks that they take and know the fees. And then just because that they did well in the past, it doesn't guarantee that they'll be perfect tomorrow, but it helps, right? Risk and return rate in this asset class varies greatly, like I said, because fund managers. Now, when we compare asset classes, as we see in this slide, this is an index showing the performance of investments. S&P 500 stocks, the money market, and then the corporate bond index. If you invested in January 2008, I don't reckon we were doing that well by at that time. After 10 years, your stock would have almost doubled, $187. The corporate bond would have become 149, and then the what is this? The mutual funds would have only gained $7. So that shows like it shows the ideal ideal rates of what we just talked about. So finally, regarding investments, there are a lot of options, but the best thing to do is to educate yourself on the terminology and the strategies, know your risk level and your goals. Give yourself an idea of what you want to do with your money when you have it. And then a few years further into the future, like what you want to be doing with it. There are a lot of resources around, online, books, people where you can clarify, but you just got to make sure that these are resources that you can trust. And that's it. All right. Thank you so much for your time on that lesson. If you take out your phones or your laptops and scan this QR code, or I could also, yeah. Scanning the QR code would be the easiest option.
I'll
Right.
put the link in the chat for if it's hard to scan. Hold on. And this is just a survey. This is just for us to see how we're doing for PennyDrops, to see if like how the lesson is for you guys, what you like, if it's actually useful.
We'd love some feedback.
Yeah, we love the feedback, how me and friends did. Just put your comments. We're not gonna see this ourselves, so like feel free to say what you want to say. Yeah, and then after you guys, we'll give you like 10 more seconds to get this link, and then we're gonna move on to the final post-lesson Kahoot.
Yes. Finally, post-lesson Kahoot.
All right, I think we can move on now because the link's in the chat. So anytime you want, just
Awesome.
click it and do the survey.
All right. I'm gonna pause this first to get into my Kahoot screen.
For this Kahoot, make sure that you're putting your real name, the name
Yes,
that's on
please.
your Zoom account, so that because afterwards whoever wins, we're gonna ask for your email in the chat. So, or you could like private message it, but that name needs to match. So make sure you're putting your right name, or if it's a fake name or a wrong name, we won't be able to give you the prize.
$25 gift card, right? I hope you guys are able to hear that music. No?
No, I can't hear it. I think you have to share your audio and your video. Like I think there's an option to share both.
Yes. All right. If no one else joins in about 10 seconds, we'll start. Please. Okay, I'll start. All right, post-lesson quiz with a prize. Most blank have no monthly fees and include around 25 free transactions per month. So these are fairly easy questions from the lesson that we just did. The main difference in points would be, and ranking would be, awesome, student checking accounts. Main difference would be the speed, right? Awesome. Next question. TFSAs offer which of the following benefits? Do they offer attractive interest rates, or contributions to TFSAs are tax deductible? Is there no yearly contribution limit? Is any income earned from account? Any income earned from the account, such as investment income, is tax-free. Tax-free savings accounts. Awesome. Next question. Which of the following is a service that banks provide? Payments. can't file their taxes or set income tax rates, or they can't set income tax rates or set interest rates. Awesome. Three answers straight. Number 4, what is the asset class with the highest risk? Cash and cash equivalents, bonds, mutual funds or ETFs, stocks. Stocks. Although, yeah. Or correct answers in a row. All right, last one. Which of the following will not deduct money from your bank account directly? An ATM, a debit card, a credit card, or a check? Which one do you have to pay back? A credit card. Awesome. All right, number 3, we have Aisha. Get up for Alexandra. Yo.
Oh, all right. Alexandra, make sure you drop your email in the chat and then I'll email you right after this and you can get your $25 gift card. Great.
And then I'll go back to this. All right, do we have any?
So we're just gonna conclude it right now. If you guys have any questions, let us know. You're welcome to come to any of our other lessons that we're holding. Like I said, we also have banking and investing, credit, and also 10 money hacks. And if we're holding it and you see the link, even if it's not for GDSC, you're still welcome to join. Like anybody's welcome to join any of these. If you enjoyed this, please like comment in that survey with the link right above. And yeah, there's our socials. We have the official PennyDrops.org is our official site. Contact is like if you're trying to contact the national team. Our Instagram, I'll put it again in the chat. PD at PD Ottawa on Instagram, and that's also linked to our Facebook. And yeah, if you're interested, if you enjoyed this, look out for a page for more lessons. We're going to be holding a bunch in November, and those will be all 4 lessons. So if you're interested in any of the other ones, feel free to join those. And if you want this slide deck to keep, you can send Chetan an email and he'll let me know, or send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat, and I'll send it to you. And you can just have that information. It's good information to have. Oh, I think I didn't send that to everybody. Hold on. Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed that, make sure you comment on the survey and join our other sessions. Thank you so much for coming to this, guys.
Thank you so much.